Can we talk about what happened on February 1st, 2026? The Grammys red carpet at the Crypto.com arena was absolutely wild this year. I'm talking about a supermodel who showed up in what looked like a latex bodysuit that was literally molded from her actual body, complete with every single detail you can imagine. And here's the crazy part. She couldn't even sit down the entire night because the dress was so stiff. She had to stand through the whole ceremony. But that's just the beginning. We saw feathered gowns that looked like they came straight from a craft store explosion, and outfits that had me genuinely wondering if some celebrities got dressed in the dark. Tonight, I'm counting down the 11 most talked about, most controversial fashion moments from music's biggest night. And trust me, I've got all the behind-the-scenes details you haven't heard anywhere else. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's dive into the looks that had everyone buzzing for days.
I'm very, very grateful for this. Nick, we did it. Mom, I love you. I love you, everybody.
British newcomer Lola Young, who was nominated for Best New Artist, walked the Grammys carpet in an army green Vivienne Westwood tracksuit covered in children's toy prints, rubber ducks, stuffed animals, mushrooms, paired with a formal collar, tie, and shiny black dress shoes. Now, I have to admit, I get what she was going for. Lola has this whole no facade vibe. She told Elle magazine, "I know what I stand for. There's no facade or alter ego." The tracksuit was her way of rejecting the whole glamorous pop star image. And Vivienne Westwood, she literally invented punk fashion. So wearing a sweatsuit to the Grammys is very much a Westwood-approved move. But here's where it gets interesting. That toy print wasn't random. In backstage interviews, Lola explained it was a nod to her song lyrics about childhood and growing up messy. So there was genuine meaning there.
And I'm too clever, and then I'm just too damn dumb. You hated when I cried.
The problem? Most people just saw a tracksuit at the Grammys and thought, did she forget this was an awards show? Business Insider called it super casual in the most negative way possible, and the cut was even more direct. They basically said if you have to explain your outfit, it's already failed. I actually respect the conviction behind it, but for a new artist trying to make her mark, this was risky in a way that didn't quite pay off. Sometimes the message just doesn't translate on camera, you know?
It is just absolutely gorgeous and makes me feel beautiful, so I'm really lucky to be wearing it. I feel like the luckiest girl in the world.
This one really surprised me because Addison Rae is usually so good with her fashion choices. But at the Grammys, the TikTok star turned musician showed up in a custom white Alaïa gown that had people genuinely confused. From the front, it had this super deep U-shaped neckline that went all the way down to her belly button, and the skirt was dramatically asymmetrical. Multiple outlets, including InStyle, described it as looking like it was being worn backwards, like genuinely backwards. And you could see coordinated white pieces underneath because of how low that neckline went. What's wild is the backstory here. According to styling sources, this dress was meant to be this deconstructed take on the classic Marilyn Monroe white dress. You know, subversive and modern, but something went wrong with the fit. There are whispers about a last-minute tailoring issue that threw off the whole silhouette, which explains that backwards appearance that definitely wasn't intentional. The concept was sweet meets dangerous, white for innocence, dramatic cutouts for edge, but the execution was not great. And get this, Addison had to use so much fashion tape to keep everything in place that she could barely move. She literally needed help climbing the stairs into the arena. And if you watch the footage, you can see her constantly adjusting the top throughout the night. I feel for her because sometimes, even with designer names and big budgets, if the fit isn't right, the whole thing falls apart. Look, I adore Miley. She's always been someone who pushes boundaries and takes risks. But this Celine look at the Grammys, I'm not sure what happened here. She wore these balloon-style black trousers with a tiny cropped leather jacket absolutely covered in massive gold charms and brooches with her initials MC. Add in black patent leather heels, tousled hair, and gold hoop earrings, and the whole thing just felt off. Business Insider said it looked too serious for a music celebration. And honestly, I agree. It came across like rock concert meets country club, and not in a good way. The cut even noted it felt like an outfit better suited to someone decades older. Here's what makes this fascinating though. This exact outfit had been on the Celine runway, and according to sources, Miley loved it so much after the show that she literally grabbed it off the mannequin. No alterations, no adjustments, nothing. Just straight from runway to red carpet. And can I tell you my favorite detail? Miley told W Magazine she paired the whole look with Aquazzura heels she found on sale that morning. A sale before the Grammys. I love that energy, but the consensus from pretty much everyone was that while the individual pieces were interesting, putting them together created visual confusion instead of impact. It lacked that signature Miley spark we all know and love. Pop star Tate McRae was attending her very first Grammys, and she told interviewers she wanted something with structure and edge from Balenciaga. What she got was an all-black ensemble with a strapless top and a skirt that, and I'm not making this up, multiple sources described as unusually deconstructed. with fabric hanging in limp, layered strips that just didn't move. Reddit fashion communities went absolutely wild over this. The fabric just hung there in these limp, jersey-like strips with zero movement or grace. And her hair? The stylist claimed they were going for Kate Moss texture, but most people just thought it looked messy and undone. Now, here's the context you need to understand. Balenciaga under Demna has basically made a career out of trolling the fashion world. They've done trash bag purses, IKEA tote knockoffs. They love pushing buttons and challenging what evening wear is supposed to look like. Sources say they were aiming for ethereal and edgy, but those heavy black leather gloves going all the way to her elbows just weighed down the entire look. She ended up looking ready for something more industrial than an awards ceremony. This is what I call the emperor's new clothes syndrome, trusting a brand's prestige over what's actually flattering. Tate admitted later she wasn't sure during fittings, but she trusted the Balenciaga name. Sometimes that trust is misplaced, and this was definitely one of those times.
Thank you for bringing your culture, your music, your stories, and your traditions here. You give America color. I love y'all so much. Thank you.
Country hip-hop crossover artist Shaboozey, who actually won a Grammy that night, committed what fashion critics called the denim tuxedo crisis. His outfit was this bizarre mashup, a traditional black tuxedo jacket with silk lapels and a formal vest on top, paired with faded blue jeans, a Western-style belt. It was the mullet of outfits. Business formal up top, construction site down below. Ralph Lauren designed this as a collaboration, and supposedly the concept was to represent Shaboozey's genre-blending music, the tux representing Grammy respectability, the jeans representing his blue-collar country roots. Stylist Anastasia Walker worked with Ralph Lauren trying to reimagine classic formal wear. But here's the problem. The contrast between that sleek satin-lapelled jacket and the stonewashed denim was just too jarring. Critics called it a wacky half-and-half ensemble. It didn't look like a high fashion statement. It looked like he spilled coffee on his suit pants and grabbed his travel jeans at the last minute. In a year where male fashion at the Grammys was actually pushing boundaries with skirts and sequins, reverting to jeans on the red carpet felt lazy. It had that mid-2000s energy when bootcut jeans and dress shoes were somehow acceptable. And trust me, nobody wants to go back to that era. I get the symbolic intention, but the execution on camera just didn't work. R&B artist Kehlani arrived in what should have been a stunning moment, a sheer black halter gown by Valdrin Sahiti called the Black Bloom dress, featuring intricate cutouts and beaded details. But critics were not impressed. Multiple outlets called it boring and predictable, basically saying we've seen this exact look 1,000 times before. One fashion editor literally wrote, "Yes, we love you, but just another black dress with strategic cutouts is so 2015. Here's what makes this interesting. This was actually a full couture piece retailing for around $2,800, so it's not like it was cheap or poorly made. The craftsmanship was there. Kehlani has worn Sahiti's work to previous events and genuinely loves his aesthetic. But this particular night, the look felt safe for someone who's usually known for taking risks. In backstage interviews, Kehlani admitted she regretted not adding a pop of color. Her signature plum lipstick was literally the only colorful thing about the entire outfit.
I had no Grammy outfit. There wasn't anybody's specific fault. It's just we got the outfit. It didn't, hit how I wanted it to hit on me.
And here's the kicker. Kehlani actually won 2 Grammys that night. So the fashion might not have been memorable, but her talent absolutely was. Sometimes you have a night where your music speaks louder than your outfit, and honestly, that's not the worst thing in the world. Comedian Ali Wong, nominated for Best Comedy Album for her Netflix special, Ali Wong Single Lady, showed up in a shimmering chartreuse green Vivienne Westwood dress with a corseted bodice and a short train. Now, chartreuse can be such a stunning color when it's done right. But this wasn't it. Nicki Swift noted that the corseted bodice looked way too big for Wong's petite frame. It was actually gaping in places. And that train was so short, it felt like an afterthought rather than a dramatic statement. What really caught my attention was that critics pointed out this came right after her disastrous look at the 2025 Golden Globes. Multiple outlets basically said, okay, it might be time to fire your stylist and start fresh. The biggest issue was that the dress lacked any accessories that could have elevated it. No jewelry, minimal styling, just this green dress that wasn't quite fitted right. Perhaps some statement pieces could have saved it, but as it stood, it just looked unfinished and unflattering. The color overwhelmed her frame, and the construction issues made what should have been a glamorous moment feel kind of sad. I actually really like Ali Wong's comedy and her fearless personality, which makes it even more disappointing that her styling team let her down this badly. I have to be honest, I was really surprised to see Darren Criss on so many worst dressed lists because he usually brings such fun energy to red carpets. But the 2026 Grammys, this one totally dropped the ball. He wore a custom tanner Fletcher suit with lace detailing over a white silk top, complete with long sleeves and a statement ribbon bow. He finished the look with cream loafers and his signature painted nails. Now, Nicki Swift basically said he totally dropped the ball with this one, calling it a frankly dull ensemble. And I can see why. The all-lace situation just didn't translate. From far away, it looked flat and boring, and up close, it felt more like costume than couture. Interestingly, some outlets actually praised this look. Esquire said he was somehow making an all-lace tuxedo work. But the overwhelming consensus was that it felt theatrical without being interesting, fancy without being fashionable. He was hosting the Grammys premiere ceremony that night and received his first Grammy nomination for Best Musical Theater Album. So it's not like this was just a random appearance. This was a big moment for him, which makes the fashion miss feel even more disappointing. The cream loafers especially got called out for not adding any oomph to an already underwhelming look. Sometimes taking a risk means pushing boundaries. Other times, it just means wearing lace badly. This was unfortunately the latter. Jamie Foxx is usually so smooth and put together, but at the 2026 Grammys, he showed up in what can only be described as a bold explosion of color and pattern. We're talking a custom houndstooth suit with every earthy hue you can imagine. Brown, blue, orange, yellow, burgundy, all mixing together in a very busy way, paired with a towering tan top hat. Critics said there were literally too many colors to appreciate the pattern, and that his giant hat and detailed suit felt like they were competing for attention. It was like a funhouse of textures and shades that didn't quite come together as planned. But here's what makes this fascinating. This outfit wasn't some last-minute choice. The multicolored houndstooth fabric was specially woven to order just for Jamie. That vintage Italian hat was refitted with modern details, specifically for this moment. According to styling sources, they were going for club-ready avant-garde. Instead, fashion critics felt it leaned more toward comic book camp than high style. Fans were joking he looked like Willy Wonka's cooler cousin. And there was this viral moment where even his own daughter seemed to give him a side eye on the red carpet. I love that Jamie is always fearless with his fashion. He's known for wild hats and bold choices, but this time, even his most devoted fans admitted it was a lot to take in. Sometimes more really is just more. After being away from the Grammys for 7 years, Kesha's return was highly anticipated. She arrived in a white, off-the-shoulder Atelier Biser gown, made entirely of fluffy feathers with a dramatically long train. And she was completely barefoot, like no shoes whatsoever. Multiple critics noted that the dress ended up wearing her, rather than the other way around. Those thick feathers completely hid her figure, creating this shapeless blob situation. One writer called it a molting poultry explosion, which is harsh, but kind of accurate. In an E! News interview, Kesha explained her reasoning. She had just launched her own label, Kesha Records, and finally owns all her music catalog after years of legal battles. She wanted to look like Athena, a warrior goddess. This was supposed to be literal armor representing her liberation. And here's a sweet detail. The dress was technically a bridal piece. That blanket of snow look was intentional, symbolizing a fresh start and a clean slate. I actually love that meaning. The problem was, the execution didn't match the beautiful intention. Without heels to give her height and lift that hemline, the dress just dragged sadly along the floor, losing all its architectural shape. And can we talk about the hygiene issue? Social media had a field day analyzing the state of her feet by the end of that red carpet walk. It was a look that screamed, "I am liberated," but unfortunately whispered, "I forgot my shoes in the car." Sometimes symbolic intention doesn't translate into successful red carpet fashion. And this was definitely one of those times. Taking our #1 spot, and this was on literally every single worst dress list from every major publication, is Heidi Klum's now infamous latex dress. The 52-year-old supermodel arrived in a strapless, knee-length Marina Hoermanseder creation that was literally a body mold handcrafted from a 3D cast of her actual body, then lacquered to match her skin tone exactly. The dress featured hyper-realistic anatomical sculpting, detailed contouring that made it look like she was wearing nothing but shiny skin. It was held together by buckles on the sides and had raw, unfinished edges at the hem. From a distance, she appeared but glossy, like a human mannequin, or, as one person hilariously commented, cheese slices that haven't melted properly on a burger. Social media absolutely erupted. Comments ranged from, "I'm sorry, but why? This is ridiculous," to, "Is that a bunch of cheese slices?" People were making Bianca Censori comparisons left and right. Now, from a technical standpoint, the craftsmanship was actually impressive. Marina Hoermanseder spent months creating that perfect body mold. Heidi even explained on Instagram that it was a leather mold, handcrafted of my body, and then lacquered. The construction was remarkable, but the result, as one viewer said bluntly, "Wow, this is heinous." Here's what makes this even more interesting. The practical challenges were insane. People magazine reported that Heidi was taking these tiny baby steps all night because she literally couldn't walk normally in this thing. And sitting, completely impossible. She joked to reporters she'd be giving a standing ovation the entire night, but that wasn't a choice. It was a necessity. The thing is, Heidi Klum is known as the Queen of Halloween for her elaborate annual costumes. She's built an entire brand on fearless, boundary-pushing looks. This Grammy appearance felt like an extension of that, treating the red carpet like her personal Halloween party. Multiple critics noted there's a fine line between artistic risk and simply looking ridiculous, and this absolutely crossed it. It was campy, technically impressive, and completely unforgettable. For all the wrong reasons, Heidi made history that night, just not in the way she probably hoped. So there you have it, the 11 most polarizing fashion moments from the 2026 Grammy Awards. From sustainability statements that got completely lost to archival pieces that sparked massive debates. From experimental silhouettes to pure theatrical risks, this year's red carpet gave us so much to talk about. Harper's Bazaar's fashion director really nailed it when she wrote, "The Grammys have always been where artists get to truly express themselves. But 2026 proved that self-expression without thoughtful execution can backfire, no matter how meaningful the intention." The beauty of the Grammys is that it celebrates risk-taking and creativity. Not every risk pays off, and that's okay. Without artists willing to push boundaries and try something different, red carpets would be incredibly boring. These 11 moments sparked conversations, challenged our ideas about fashion, and reminded us that style is subjective, personal, and endlessly fascinating. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the night's most talked about looks. If you loved getting all these behind-the-scenes details and fashion insights, make sure to subscribe for more red carpet coverage every award season. I'll keep bringing you the research and the stories that matter most.